Američki san na remontu. U večerašnjoj specijalnoj emisiji analiziramo u kojoj meri će stanje američke ekonomije. Odlučiti ko je novi stanar Bijele kuće. Ekskluzivno otkrivamo ko su ključni ljudi i ideje iza radikalnog novog pokreta koji uzdrema Ameriku. Šta ako zapravo uopšte nisu švorc?
Corporations are falsely hiding money offshore so they don't have to pay taxes to our economy.
Autorka kontroverznog novog dokumentarca Mi nismo švorc otkriva nam svoja najšokantnija otkrića o korporativnoj Americi danas. Don Grantham, predsjednik Microsofta za centralnu i istočnu Evropu, u intervju za naš magazin otkriva zašto njegovoj kompaniji nedostaje cool faktor. Velika očekivanja. Microsoft sa Windowsom 8 ponovo krenuo osvajanje izgubljenih pozicija. Ali da li je suviše dugo bio na klupi, dok utakmica u smartphone areni uveliko traje? Iz našeg centralnog studija u Sarajevu i sa izveštajima iz Vašingtona, Čikaga i Puebla u Koloradu. Ovo je Al Jazeera Biznis, ja sam Marko Pavlović. Stvari u ekonomiji. Ako će po nečemu biti upamćeni ovogodišnji američki predsjednički izbori, to je upravo to. Ekonomija je bila težište gotovo svake debate, polazište svih otvorenih verbalnih sukoba. Podići ili smanjiti poreze, štedeti ili ne štedeti. Ali u srži ovog izbornog ciklusa vratilo se je jedno krajnje kontraverzno pitanje. Šta se zapravo dogodilo s američkim snom? Kada govorimo o ekonomskoj nejednakosti u Sjedinjenim državama, ona je na istorijskom maksimumu. Ako pogledamo istraživanje američke federalne vlade koja je pratila povećanje zarada tokom gotovo 30 godina, od 1979. do 2007. Visina zarada za pripadnike 1% najbogatijih u populaciji Sjedinjenih država uvećana je za 275%. Poređenja radi, visina zarada za 20% populacije koje najmanje zarađuje uvećana je za svega 18%. Istraživanje je također pokazalo da se uvećalo bogatstvo koncentrisano unutar grupe od 1%. Njihove zarade su se udvostručile. Za one na dnu, njihovo uslovno rečeno bogatstvo se zapravo smanjilo u odnosu na pre 30 godina. U kojoj meri je pitanje ekonomije bilo presudno u ovom izbornom procesu, najbolje ilustruje memorandum Franka Lunca, američkog političkog konsultanta i poznatog stratega Republikanske partije, koji je procurio u javnost ranije ove godine. On je savjetovao republikanske kandidate, uključujući Mitta Romneya, da biraju svoje reči sa posebnom pažnjom, pogotovo one koji su poput Minskog polja. Prvi retorički savjet. Ne koristite reč kapitalizam, kaže on, zbog toga što ga sada većina Amerikanaca smatra nemoralnim. A republikanci ne bi trebali da se prikazuju kao branioci Wall Streeta. Umjesto toga koristite izraz ekonomska sloboda. Isto tako kaže da republikanci neće pobediti ako koriste izraz srednja klasa, već sugeriše da se govori o, citiram, vrednim poreskim obveznicima. Nije tu stao, već je dodao da se termin oporezivanje bogatih ne potencira, jer većina ljudi zapravo želi da dodatno oporezuje bogate, umjesto toga predlaže da govore kako vlada uzima novac od vrednih Amerikanaca. Među tim vrednim Amerikancima je grupa koju u najširem smislu pripadaju emigranti. Baracku Obami su posebno bitni jer njegove demokrate po pravilu imaju liberalnije stavove u vezi sa emigracijom od svojih republikanskih rivala. Međutim, brojni latinoamerikanci sada počinju da razmišljaju prvenstveno ekonomski prije nego što daju svoj glas. U svom izveštaju ekskluzivno za Al Jazeera Biznis, naš kolega Greg Kallstrom nam je poslao ovu priču iz gradića Pueblo u južnom Koloradu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Daniel Gonzalez drove for more than an hour to sell tamales at this farmer's market in Pueblo in southern Colorado. He's worried, though, that his sales might barely cover the cost of gas.
4 years ago, we would bring, say, 50 dozen to the market, and we would sell all those 50 dozen.
Gonzalez says he's struggling like many of the farmers and merchants here. Seed and fertilizer prices have gone up and gas has more than doubled over the last few years.
I've always been registered as a Democrat, but to be honest with you, at this point, it's I haven't made up my mind completely about who I'm going to vote for.
The city has long been a Democratic stronghold. Barack Obama won here by 15 points in 2008. He still has a large campaign office in the heart of downtown. Part of the reason is that Latino voters make up 50% of the population, according to the most recent census, and they are a reliable Democratic constituency.
I don't believe in the Republicans or
the way they talk.
But the economy here is suffering, and it has been ever since the 1980s when the steel mill closed down. The recent recession is starting to hurt small business owners like Arnold Gallegos, who's run a shuttle service here for the last 20 years.
It's been a struggle. I mean, I'm still behind Obama, but it's getting tougher and tougher for me to make it go anymore with the cost of everything gone up so much.
The economic problems have hit the Hispanic community here especially hard. Their unemployment rate is nearly 50% higher than the general population. Most of them still plan to vote Democratic, but they feel the government hasn't done enough to help them.
It's not all based on some unique characteristics like concerns about immigration. Instead, Latinos, much like most of the public, are concerned about the economy.
And with the steel mill closed and much of downtown boarded up, many people in Pueblo are frustrated and worried about the future.
Međutim, ekonomiju bi sa pijedestala najvažnije teme ovog izbornog ciklusa u Americi, tako reći neočekivano mogla skine Sandy. Ova super oluja opustošila je delove istočne obale. A naš Stefan Goranović, koji sa našim timom reportera i snimatelja za Al Jazeeru pokriva američke izbore, poslao nam je ovaj izveštaj iz Čikaga.
Ovo je dosad neviđena završnica predsjedničke kampanje u Sjedinjenim državama. Super oluja Sandy odnela je na desetine života i donela na desetine milijardi dolara štete. Procenjuje se da bi ovo mogla da bude jedna od najskupljih prirodnih katastrofa u istoriji, s obzirom na to da je udarila na samo srce SAD-a. Ovde mnogi više nije ni briga ko će biti sljedeći predsjednik Amerike, jer nemaju struju i vodu, a i ne mogu da dođu do posla zbog obogaljenosti javnog prevoza. Međutim, postoje i oni za koje je čaša uvek na pola puna, pa kažu da bi upravo novac potreban za obnovu mogao da uđe direktno u posrnulu američku ekonomiju. Dobra vest iz ovdašnje štampe jeste da osiguravajuće kompanije imaju dovoljno novca da pokriju nastalu štetu. Predsjedničke kampanje ovdje su svedene na minimum, oba kandidata slabije se pojavljuju u javnosti i nije toliko intenzivna predsjednička i predizborna kampanja. Ovdje je predsjednička trka prilično neizvesna, istorijski je tesna i bit će zanimljivo vidjeti kako će izgledati rezultat sa ovako malim predizbornim aktivnostima.
A šta ako je sa ekonomijom Sjedinjenih država sve okej? Da ima novca, zapravo više nego dovoljno. Ovo radikalno novo razmišljanje dve rediteljke Vicky Bruce i Karen Hayes tema je njihovog dokumentarca We are not broke, odnosno Mi nismo švorc, globalnu televizijsku premijeru. Ovaj film će imati upravo ovdje, kod nas, na Al Jazeeri. Na programu je utorak tokom našeg TV specijalu u trajanju 14 sati, tokom kojeg ćemo pokrivati američke izbore. A premijera je tačno u 23 sata po centralnoevropskom vremenu. Za sada, evo kratkog inserta.
We're broke. America's broke.
We're broke.
We're broke.
We're broke.
We're broke. We don't have the money anymore.
Thousands of Pasco County school employees are waiting for word on who will lose their jobs this week.
State legislatures looking to cut budgets are increasingly targeting the courts, which have been forced to lay off thousands of staff workers.
Up to 80 police officers may be laid off by the end of June.
Washington's been obsessed with cutting spending.
U studiju Al Jazeera u Washingtonu, drago mi je što mogu da poželim dobrodošlicu rediteljki filma Mi nismo švorc, Victoria Bruce. Ms. Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to Al Jazeera Balkans. I was lucky enough to see your movie prior to premiere on Tuesday. And let me just open up with congratulations to the amazing. And it would seem to be quite tough work because it's quite accomplishment. Let me just start with the thing that I was puzzled the most. Us, and I'm referring to everybody from other side of the Atlantic, we are pretty much sure that you guys back there are broke. And you are sort of going in our faces with this radical new thinking, saying absolutely not, we're not broke. So who to believe, Vicky?
Well, you know, we were shocked as well because Karen Hayes, my co-producer, and myself, our executive producer, Charles Davidson, we all sort of went into this thinking that we would do a story about super rich people like Mitt Romney who hide their money offshore and how that hurts global economies. And we kept going out to these tax experts all over the country, and they'd say, you know, the super rich people are the problem, but it's really the corporations that are the problem. They're hiding so much money offshore. If we brought it back, we wouldn't have to have any of these austerity cuts. So
okay, give us some obvious example. Give us an example that shocked you the most.
Well, one of the things that made me the most mad was that Apple Corporation is just one of the dirtiest tax dodgers that we have. You know, I have Apple products. I love my iPhone. They used to be a cool company, and now they're turning around and they're just cheating Americans out of tax dollars. So we're giving CEOs of Apple and their top shareholders billions of dollars, and we're laying off teachers in this country. So it's a lie that we're broke. Corporations are falsely hiding money offshore so they don't have to pay taxes to our economy. And it's not just here. It's in the Balkans, it's in Europe, it's in everywhere in the world. Because of globalization, corporations are doing this to their home countries.
So basically, you are telling me that corporations like Apple and such, you have the list, GE, and list goes on and on. They're literally paying less taxes than you. Am I right?
I pay more taxes on my phone bill than the phone company Verizon pays. They made $4.1 billion in profit and paid zero to our treasury, to the American people. So a person who has a cell phone is paying more just on their cell phone bill. You know, and this is cheating. It's absolute cheating. They'll say, "Oh, we're doing it legally," but it's pushing the lines of any legality. And these corporations are actually writing the laws that we have here in Congress. And it is here in the U.S., but it's also global. You know, this is a global problem.
You see, the thing that you're saying just right now, it's puzzling to me because I'm really, really trying to understand. But somehow, for me, it's very difficult to understand how is it possible that there is not a wave of outrage simply because of the fact that every single American pays more taxes than the companies like GE and Apple. And when I say more, of course they're paying more because they pay zero federal income tax. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. It is mind-boggling. We're here. I'm here in Washington, D.C. And the way that it happens is that out there where all of our elected leaders are, our buildings, their offices are surrounded by corporate lobbyists. And every day they are buying our elected officials. And it's stunning the amount of power that they have and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, your average citizen is looking at commercials for Bank of America or for Exxon, and they're saying, gosh, we're a good company. You know, we give money to war veterans. Well, they don't even pay their taxes. So I don't care if you are financing the Sundance Film Festival. You're taking money out of our schools so kids can't even learn the arts. You know, it makes no sense, but it's propaganda constantly.
Okay, just based on what you just said, I don't want to sound ignorant, but knowing what you know right now during the course of years preparation and filming for this piece of documentary, do you think, knowing again what you know, that who wins the next American election will change anything in this subject? Because it seems like they're invisible.
Well, as you said, you saw our film, so you saw 2008 Barack Obama promising he was going to cut corporate tax loopholes. He did nothing of the kind. He didn't even make a slight move towards that direction. Now we've got Romney on the other side, who's his own kind of tax dodger with, you know, his own accounts and his Bain Capital. We have both sides that are just basically in control from the corporations. So, you know, what we have to do, we can hope Obama wins because that's our only chance. For sure, Romney's not going to help the situation. And push Obama to go back to those campaign promises of 2008 and get the money out of big business. Big business owns our political election. I don't know if you've heard, but they've spent $2 billion. That's not from my $50 donation. You know, this is from big moneyed interests that are hiding their money offshore so they don't have to pay taxes. Well, we're struggling. We're starving for cash here, and it's there, and they owe it to us.
Absolutely mind-boggling. Victoria, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for making this extraordinary documentary. I cannot recommend it enough, and I cannot wait to go live on our channel on Tuesday. Thank you so much, and good luck with your work.
Thanks, Marcus.
Ovdje ćemo za trenutak stati, ali ostanite uz nas jer smo vam pripremili još i ovo. Velike očekivanja. Microsoft sa Windowsom 8 ponovo krenuo osvajanje izgubljenih pozicija. Ali da li je suviše dugo bio na klupi dok utakmica u smartphone areni uveliko traje? Don Grantham, predsjednik Microsofta za centralnu i istočnu Evropu, u intervju za naš magazin otkriva zašto njegovoj kompaniji nedostaje cool faktora. Dobrodošli nazad u Al Jazeera Business. Među modernim proizvodima koji su promenili našu svakodnevicu, na prvom mestu nalazi se jedan – kompjuter. Razvoj računara otvorio je vrata za napredak gotovo svih industrija, medicine, telekomunikacija, finansijskih tržišta, medija. Spisak je zaista dug. A glavna poveznica ovog razvoja je operativni sistem na kojem računar radi. Najpoznatiji i najrasprostranjeniji svakako je Microsoftov Windows, čija je nova verzija nedavno izašla.
Od prvih verzija 95 i 98 preko XP-a do sedmice, ove poznate tonove čuo je gotovo svako ko je jednom u životu upalio računar. Ovim verzijama pridružila se još jedna, Windows 8. Glavna inovacija je izgled. Recite zbogom maloj ikonici Start iz donjeg lijevog ćoška i poželite dobrodošlicu novim ikonama i ekranu osjetljivom na dodir.
Definitivno ima mnogo promjena između starog i novog stila. Kada koristite Windows 8 prvi put, to iskustvo može djelovati veoma komplikovano.
Direktor Microsofta je ranije ove sedmice izjavio da novim operativnim sistemom ta kompanija pravi novu revoluciju na tržištu računara. A revolucija im je tekako potrebna, budući da konkurencija poput Apple-a i Google-a konstantno raste, tako da je dio tržišnog kolača koji ostane Microsoftu sve manji.
Mislim da postoji tržište za Microsoft, ali to je teška bitka sa Apple-om. Smatram da će uzeti dio tržišta, ali ne tako brzo, jer su fanovi Apple-a razvili dugogodišnju naviku korištenja. To je nemoguće promijeniti odmah.
Iz Microsofta se nadaju da će pogled kroz novi prozor od sada biti mnogo svjetliji. Emir Nuhanović, Al Jazeera Business.
Drago mi je što u studiju Al Jazeera mogu da pozdravim Dona Granthama, predsjednika Microsofta za centralnu i istočnu Evropu. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Your CEO used the word epic when he explained the launch of Windows 8. And the funny thing, most of the analysts, especially IT analysts, said, yeah, that's the right expression for this type of launch. I mean, would you use the same word?
Well, I'm British, so I probably wouldn't use the same word, but I think it's a good word to use. It truly is an epic event for us as a company, for our customers, for consumers worldwide. We're bringing to market, the latest version of the operating system that is truly unique. It provides a seamless user interface, and it's no compromise experience in the sense that we offer the same experience across multiple devices now, from the phone to the tablet to the PC and browser, through to the desktop, and ultimately through using our Xbox onto TVs as well. So there's a seamless user interface, no compromise in the sense of, in addition to what I've said, you can use it with a mouse, a keyboard, or just touch.
That's the thing, because at one point in the world, Microsoft Windows 95 was everything, essentially. Every PC in the world, or most of the PCs in the world, was running on Windows. In that sense, are you, and I'm sorry to use this word, are you compromising the brand? Because Windows is so mainstream, and what you're essentially doing, you're rebranding the software that puts you on the map.
I don't think we're rebranding it. I think we're evolving it. I think it's the next step in the evolution of how we provide IT as a utility to the market. It's, if you look at the market now, and the end user experience is cool. This is what, whether it's consumers, whether it's businesses, whether it's governments, there's a level of enterprise and business requirement in terms of security, systems management, etc. But end users want to be able to work and play in the same place. So I wouldn't say we're compromising it at all. I'd say we're actually opening it out to have a common experience for you and me, whether it's, and for my kids, and I don't have grandchildren yet, but when I have grandchildren, the way in which they're using technology is changing all the time. So I think we're evolving, not evolving with the times, I think we're leading the evolution of IT.
Let's talk about what you just mentioned, the cool factor. We're living in a brutal world nevertheless, but can you combine that with the fact how brutal IT arena is? And it turns out that the cool factor is very important. Just look the whole concept of Apple and cool factor. So are you lacking the cool factor, or are you making up with this funky new applications?
Funky is another word that isn't in the British
I'm throwing all the wrong words at you, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I'm with you. I mean, I think I'd say the following. I mean, if you look at the competitive nature of the IT market over the last 30 years, which I can reflect on, it's hugely competitive. And there are players that come and go, and there are players who stay, and we're one of the players who've stayed in that competitive market. In the next 30 years, it's going to be just as competitive. If you look at it through the eyes of the consumer, there are certain requirements. If you look at it through the eyes of businesses and governments, there are other requirements. We're confident in our position in that competitive world because we can respond to both of those sets of requirements. And you mentioned cool, you know, Windows with the fluid, flexible touch and feel that is now in place with Windows 8. Yes, it brings us to a point where we believe Microsoft's cool again. The market will be a judge of that. The early indications are pretty positive.
What would you say to those who think that you maybe played too safe? You waited on the sidelines to get into the smartphone arena, or you waited to see in which direction things might go. So there is a certain amount of talk, if you like. Maybe you got into this picture a little bit late. What's your take on that?
My take is, would we have liked to have got into it a little earlier and a little faster? With the benefit of hindsight, which is a great planning tool, maybe. But the way I look at it is this. There are 7 billion people on the planet. 2.5 billion are connected to the internet. Last year, 2012, only 10% of the population of the planet was connected via a smartphone. Now 1 billion are connected on smartphones. The prediction is, independent surveys, 2 billion will be connected by smartphones under the current definitions in the next 3 years. So you go 1 billion to 2 billion in 3 years. Now, we call them smartphones today. As I said earlier, phones, tablets, PC, browser, desktop, TV, one experience. I think the world is evolving to be utilizing technology through a device.
Are you trying to tell me that maybe your focus in the years to come will be smartphone arena?
I'm saying that our focus will continue to be smartphone arena, in addition to the devices that we're already bringing to market through our partners, through our OEM channel, and also with the Surface machine that we announced very recently again in terms of adding another string to our bow in terms of the devices that are going to be used to connect people at any place, at any time, to any information on our operating system.
And finally, if you don't want to answer this, it's fine, but I'm wondering, because of the IT geeks watching this, are you sticking with Nokia when it comes to your partnership in the years to come, or are you exploring other options?
Well, I'd say we partner with Nokia very strongly, and we also partner with other partners, HTC, Huawei, etc., and others. So we have no reason to change that position.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Osvoji pa vladaj. Samo godinu dana nakon dolaska na čelo najjače američke kompanije Apple, Tim Cook otpustio je dvojicu vodećih menadžera. Scotta Forstola, šefa softverske platforme za iPhone i iPad, i Johna Broveta, šefa Appleovih prodavnica. No ono što je zaintrigiralo ljubitelje Apple-a jeste izlazak na scenu čovjeka iz senke, Jonathana Johnnya Iva. Ovaj dizajnerski guru godinama je usko sarađivao sa Steveom Jobsom, ali nikada nije napredovao. Sada sa Timom Cookom dobio je životnu šansu. Ive će se osim o spoljnom dizajnu brinuti i o dizajnu softvera i usklađivanju rada čoveka i mašine. Kako ocenjuje New York Times, jedan čovjek definitivno ne može da zameni Steva Jobsa, ali, citiram, dvojica će moći. Tim Cook zadužen je za poslovnu stranu Jobsovog uma, a Ive za onu umetničku, emocionalnu i romantičnu, zaključuje Times. Nikad ne reci nikad. Mickey Mouse kupio je ratove zvezda. I to za najveću cifru u istoriji show biznisa. Brojka nedelje pripada kompaniji Walt Disney, koja je za $4 milijarde kupila producentsku kuću Lucasfilm. Pre 10 godina je rekao da više nikada neće se to dogoditi. Sada je kultni režiser George Lucas demantovan. Novih nastavaka Ratova zvezda će ipak biti. Nova trilogija stiže u bioskope, ali ovaj put pod dirigentskom palicom korporacije Disney koja nije štedela novca. 2015. godine izlazi 7. nastavak serijala, a potom i još 2. Najpoznatije ime u svetskim novinarskim krugovima ove nedelje je definitivno Grk Kostas Vaksevanis. Ekspresno je uhapšen, odveden pred sud i isto tako brzo oslobođen svih optužbi. Naime, Grčku trenutno potresa afera zvana Lagardina lista. Dok je bila na čelu Ministarstva finansija Francuske, grčkom kolegi je 2010. poslala listu sa više od 2000 imena ljudi koji u švajcarskim bankama posjeduju bankovne račune. Na listi se nalazi imena visokih zvaničnika, političara, biznismena, pa čak i domaćica. I u parlamentu se vodi istraga. A Kostas Vaksevanis je uhapšen zato što je objavio Lagardinu listu, što bi zapravo uradio svaki novinar. Zato naša izjava nedelje pripada upravo njemu. Ako trebam da idem u zatvor, ići ću. Ne zato što sam heroj, već da pokažem nepravdu koja se dešava u Grčkoj. Evo samo nekih od tweetova na koje smo naišli ove nedelje. Utajivači poreza nisu tema samo u Americi. Britanski ekspert za oporezivanje Richard Murphy uputuje poruku u Džersiju, Antigvi i Gibraltaru. On kaže, to što vi kažete da niste raj za utajivače poreza, nikoga nije ubedilo. Paul Lewis, ekonomski analitičar, je zgrožen novim ispadom britanskog Barclaysa. Kažnjeni su sa 290 miliona funti u Sjedinjenim državama, kaže, zbog špekulacije na tržištima energenata. Još su i nameštali Libor i varali svoje klijente. Strašno, zaključuje on. Novinar Guardiana, Graham Warden, konstatuje da je euroskepticizam i tekako živ, kao i da je odneo pobedu u Westminsteru prošle nedelje. Tamo britanski establishment sve glasnije postavlja pitanje mesta te zemlje u Uniji. A na humorističkom profilu navodno zaposlenog u Goldman Sachsu postavljeno je za neke bankare, ključno pitanje. Nadam se da Oluja Sandy neće uticati na moj bonus. Ako ste bilo šta propustili iz ove ili ranijih emisija, na raspolaganju vam stoji naša online arhiva. Na našoj zvaničnoj web stranici možete pronaći intervjue, priloge i reportaže iz ranijih emisija, kao i najnovije vesti sveta ekonomije. Naravno, to su i društvene mreže. Mene možete pronaći na Twitteru kao @MarkoAGB, a u ime svih nas ovde u Al Jazeera Business Teamu želim vam sjajnu nedelju.